Hello again, Deeply Rooted. So this is the second part of my graveyard ancestor veneration video done during the social distancing time. So I'm sitting in a public graveyard, pretty much in the middle of nowhere in Curtis, Wisconsin. Gorgeous place. I'll get out of the car and I'll pan around for you so you can see it. Now, normally when you enter a graveyard, my best practice with graveyards is doing a simple prayer before you even get out of the car. I've been to, I haven't been to this graveyard, but I've been to one very near here, so I want to introduce myself to the spirits, to the protectors of the graveyard, well, I work with some of the Loa when I enter a graveyard. If I'm in a graveyard, just a graveyard in general, I'm talking to Bawan Samedi. I may be butchering his name, I apologize, but the other thing of interest too is this graveyard is at a crossroads, and that is also associated with the Loa Papa Legba. Bawan and Papa Legba don't generally mesh together very well. However, if you are at a graveyard at a crossroads, which this one is, this is what's called a male crossroads. When the two crossroads come together and they look like a T, that's a male. Think testosterone. If they come together like an X, they're a female crossroads, and that's actually a good place to work with some of the more, like Bawan's wife, Mama Brigitte. You know her as the goddess Brigitte. At least that's how I've always interpreted her. She's the only Caucasian Loa in the entire pantheon in New Orleans tradition voodoo, as a rule, or voodoo, depends on how you want to say it. But getting back to what I was saying, so now we're at the graveyard right now, and so we're going to do a simple prayer. And it's just an offering to say who we are, what our purpose here is, and what our terms and conditions are as we walk through here. It's very important when you deal with spirits to say these things out loud, because I've never had an issue, but it's not to say that it couldn't happen. There's always a risk when you work with spirits, and that's something you take on when you're a root worker. I would be lying to you if I said I've never had anything go wrong, but I've never had anything as like giving offerings in a graveyard go wrong for me. So what I'm going to say here is something that I kind of modified from Miss A.V. Barron, who is one of my favorite conjure workers. I'll provide her link below because she is awesome. And what I say is, I call to the gods, the guides, the guardians, the ancestors, and the entities named and unnamed, who I work with and who work with me on a daily basis, to come forward, to activate, to cleanse, to charge myself, these offerings, and my sacred space, which is this car. I ask you, spirits of the graveyard, to please allow me in. I mean you no harm or disrespect. I've come here to venerate you and to ask no more of you than to just do a video educating people on what spirit contracts and what spirit work looks like, what ancestor veneration may look like. And for those folks who are adopted, or maybe you have some really icky family ties and you do want to make a positive connection with the spirit world, you can do something like this. This is just a beginner video, so I'm not going to go too far into what to do and what not to do. So if you are interested in learning more, please contact me via the links below. I'll provide all that for you, and we can get started. As you can see here, I don't know if you can see that, but I've kind of gotten all my stuff open for right now, the things that I'm going to offer the graveyard spirits. I have 9 confectionery treats, and I have one huge, probably 10-pound bag of black sunflower seeds, and those are actually for the birds of the cemetery, because birds are considered the messengers of the dead. So if you want to make nice with spirits, make nice with the birds. It doesn't hurt, and everything that I'm throwing onto the ground, it's biodegradable. I'm not going to throw any plastic. That's already been taken care of. I'm going to recycle everything, so I'm doing my karmic responsibility for the land. And I'm also I also know that around here, it's a sad fact, a lot of people throw garbage right outside their car windows, so the food really isn't going to be too much of a problem, because these are things the animals can digest. There's nothing toxic in here, as far as I know, for wild animals to eat. Never had an issue with it before in front of my own house or any of the other graveyards I work at. So, yeah, just sit back, and now we're going to enter the graveyard. We're going to say to the spirits, I come in here in a place of respect and a peace and a veneration, and I ask that when I leave this graveyard, that none of you follow me home. home for now. All right, you can make contact with me while I'm in the graveyard, but when I leave, my boundary is that you stay away. And that's just to cover yourself, because I've never worked at this graveyard before, so this is a new thing, just this particular graveyard. So, all right, guys, thank you, and stay tuned for part 3.